So, hi guys, welcome back to this week's Footy Friday. This week we're going to just chat about the weekend's football, some of the weekend's results, what exactly have they meant. Because obviously we've had a few things confirmed over the weekend and over the sort of midweek as well. And that's pretty much it. Look forward to some of the things that are going on. Obviously, got the weekend's football, Champions League, FA Cup kind of thing happening in the next few weeks, really. Coming to the business end of the season now. Also have a look at the title races in some of the countries and see what we think of them and see which way they'll go as well. But without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Right, so we're going to start with the game on Friday night. The first. So that would have been
Newcastle.
Yeah. Wasn't exactly the best result for Leicester.
No. So I suppose Steve Bruce has got drilled into them that they need to get points and they need to, stop even being in the contention for being relegated. They've easily done that now. The big win against Leicester. Leicester have sort of drifted away from the pack, so to speak. Chelsea is sort of replacing them where they were. It was a bit of a shock result. I mean, based on how they played, if you saw the game, Newcastle deserved the win. But I mean, before the game, you would have said Leicester probably would have won maybe 2 or 3-0. So it is quite a shock unless you watch the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because I was expecting, I was expecting it to be. You could even argue that it could have happened to the other way. Before the game started, you could have put it down as being a 4-2. It could have been 4-2 Leicester before the game started.
Yeah.
But as it is, and like you said, Leicester seems to have been drifted off slightly because I think they're still third, but because I think.
Oh no.
But not by much. Chelsea on fourth with 64 points. They're on third with 66 points. So, and you've got West Ham underneath them, underneath both of them, in fifth with 58 points with a game in hand.
I don't think West Ham are going to be able to make up that ground.
No, I don't think so either.
I think it probably will be Chelsea and Leicester that get third and fourth. It just depends which team goes where. And then I think it's probably between West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham.
For Europa League players.
Maybe Arsenal, maybe Everton. Well, realistically, looking at the games played, it's probably Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool and West Ham. Arsenal probably aren't even in it just because they've played the most games out of those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty close, but yeah, I think Leicester and Chelsea... Well, Leicester, I think, have cemented themselves as top four already, so I don't think they've got to worry about too much. So I think they're pretty confident going into next season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. One team that is definitely not cemented their place in the top four, but they thought they would have done this if you had looked at the start of the season. Tottenham losing 3-1 to Leicester Leeds. It wasn't exactly I think it does just show. I know we've seen Tottenham play pretty well. They have played better, obviously much better than they played it there against Leeds. But I just don't think. Well, first of all, Ryan Mason is definitely not the manager to take him anywhere.
No,
He's I think he's younger than Harry Kane.
He's 29.
Oh, so he's only.
I think he's a year older.
No, he's 2 years older. But still, you should. In reality, your coach shouldn't be 2 years older than because he
I
would have
think
been.
Hugo
He would have
Lloris,
been.
his captain's older than him.
Yeah, I was going to say because he is.
Lloris and Alderweireld, who started against Leeds, are both older than him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no fault of his own. Like, he's been
No.
thrown into the limelight just because of who he is, like his relation to the club. But I mean, even with Mourinho at Spurs, it probably wasn't looking very hopeful in this game even then. I think the way Tottenham play football is obviously counter-attacking and fast build-up play, but it just shows that doesn't. Well, that was what it was under Mourinho, but it just shows that it doesn't fully work. Like, I know Leeds are very much similar and like pressing and high fitness, high pace, things like that. And against a slow, lethargic team like Tottenham, which they have been in the last few months, you're gonna win. Like, looking at that team, and Tottenham should be top 3, top 4 every season, and that team's just, the defense is a mismatch of abilities and ages. The midfield, the 2 DMs are fine. Son and Kane are all right, but Ali hasn't played for ages. He's only been thrown in the last few weeks, and then Gareth Bale's in and out of form. So there's a reason why Bale and Ali came off. Like, you don't know what to expect from them, and they're just having to rely on Kane and Son, and when they don't perform, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know Harry Kane's currently leading. He's leading the Golden Boot, but that's more down to the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He has had goals, towards the business end of the season, after Christmas, but he hasn't had as many.
Yeah, definitely.
So it just shows you not necessarily the decline, but the change in some mentality at Tottenham. I would presume. I don't know what else it could be.
Yeah, I don't know, because you thought maybe they would have done a bit better when Mourinho left, but I mean, I think Mason's got 1 win since he's been there, and he's been there like 3 or 4 games, so it's not looking promising. Obviously, Mason's not going to get the job.
No,
but I mean, I don't know who else would take it.
There's not really that many people. There's really that many managers that are out there you could look at and go, yeah, I could see him at Tottenham.
Trying to think of Nuno Espirito Santo.
But he likes he loves his Wolves job.
Yeah.
I know they're not doing very well.
I was trying to think of a manager in the Prem that's oh God.
I could see him going and getting Eddie Howe.
Yeah, but is that much better?
But then
Graham
again,
Potter?
I know he has been linked with it.
I think he'd be interesting for him. I'm not sure about Eddie Howe. I know people like him because of his age, and Bournemouth, had done all right, but didn't he get relegated with them like twice? Like, you've got to factor those things in.
Yeah.
I think, Graham Potter might be a good shout. Scott Parker, maybe, he's got ties there. I think he's probably, even though they got relegated, he has shown glimpses of being a good manager. And I think, the players that they brought in, it didn't quite work, but they were smart, like Areola, the loans that they made. Yeah. If he was able to be backed at Tottenham, he might be able to do something.
Not only that, he can work on a budget, which is great because obviously Daniel Levy's does very rarely splashes the cash.
And a lot of those players you see at Fulham now, like Ademola Lookman, Bobby De Cordova-Reid, that DM Reid, Harrison Reid, is it?
Yeah.
Anguissa, Aina, all the centre backs. I mean, half of that team could probably go into the Tottenham team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Especially, when you look at, I know this was a few seasons ago, but Ryan Sessegnon, they bought him, basically walked into the Tottenham team. I know he's out on loan at the moment at Hoffenheim, but you know he pretty much walked into the team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And they could do the same. Like Ademola Lookman, they'd probably favour him over Dele Alli.
Yeah.
And if Bale leaving next season, he could just slot straight into that role because he's got enough experience now in the Premier League. I know that was the problem with Everton. That's why I don't think they kept him, because he didn't have enough experience or whatever. But now he has got that experience. He's had a season and a half, because the little bit with Everton or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's got enough experience to do something. And then you look at, who's that centre back? The one from Lyon.
Oh,
Thomason, Sorensen,
Larson.
Larson.
I can't remember what he's flipping called. I know what you're talking about though.
Well, he could replace an aging Alderweireld.
Anderson.
Anderson.
Joachim Anderson.
Okay.
you
You've got
know,
Anguissa. You know, you've got good options, and I think Scott Parker as well. He could easily attract some of them players over to the club.
Yeah.
Because Tottenham's not necessarily an attractive club to join at the minute, but
yeah,
you know, there seems a future there, whereas I think other clubs there isn't.
But when you're looking at a manager, you need to be looking at like a project. Scott Parker can build a project.
Yeah, exactly. You want a young manager who could be there, and Tottenham tend to give managers, you know,
Time.
a little. Well, do they?
They more occasionally. Obviously, they had that break. They had that little bit of odd appointment. I think it was after. Was it after Villas-Boas? When they signed Tim Sherwood and all that, and they signed them all. They had 3 managers or something in a season, didn't they? Something like that.
Yeah, I think they haven't necessarily done it, but I think they're willing to do it.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference. Like other clubs, like Chelsea, don't allow the time to go, but I think Levy is willing to do it. He just hasn't done it yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. I'll agree with you on that one. Now moving on to the next game. You know, this is another team that could be looking at getting a new manager at the end of the season. Crystal Palace beating Sheffield United 2-0.
I know, when I saw that being linked with Frank Lampard, I thought, I don't understand it, because I don't see why they'd go from Roy Hodgson to him. I don't think they play similar football. I think Palace are a fair. I don't understand what Palace are trying to do, because they have sort of players that do a bit of everything, and I think they're trying to rely on Zaha and Easy, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They're trying to rely on them, but then you need other players around them. It doesn't work when you've got Townsend, you know, Benteke, Batshuayi, I think, still there. And Lampard might be able to get the best out of them, but I don't see how that works. I don't see how he does any better than what Hodgson's done amazing with that team. I'm surprised that team hasn't been relegated already.
Yeah, because apart from, to be honest, I look at that Palace team and I think, apart from Zaha, Eze, Schlupp on his day, and to be honest, the guy Vincent Gaeta.
It's where old Premier League players go, or it's where Premier League players who had one good season, and you could pick a lot of them players. You look at Christian Benteke, Batshuayi, Van Aanholt, Gary Cahill, Jack Butland, Jordan Ayew, Sacco, Andros Townsend, Hennessy, Kouyaté, Klein. You're sport for choice. That's where you go when you're either too old to play anywhere else and you want to play in a defensive team where you don't have to do a lot of running and tracking forward, because all the attacking players will do that, and all the midfielders will work really hard, like Milivojevic and like Jedinak, who used to be there, and McCarthy and stuff. But it's not an attractive club, and I don't see what Lampard can do that Hodgson already hasn't.
I wonder if it's only because of being used to when he first went to Chelsea, he was on that the transfer ban, so he had to look at the academy. So I think maybe utilising the academy more. That could only be my other option. The other reason, on obviously his age. I know. Saying like, he's not exactly young, obviously, but
no,
he's not. Well, he is in the managerial sense because he's not been a manager for that long.
No.
So that would be the only other reason, because he's a young English manager. Yeah, I used the young again.
I get it to do with his. Yeah, I get it to do with his age, and I get that he hasn't got a club. But surely you wait at the end of the season, because there's 3 games left. You wait to the end of the season. You're going to have a long time to try and find a manager. You've got Scott Parker, Graham Potter, Sean Dyche. I know he's probably never going to leave Burnley because, you think of Burnley, you think of Chris Wood and Sean Dyche. But you know what I mean. You've got Hassan Hootel. You've got Nuno Espirito Santo. I know, Southampton and Wolves are probably more attractive teams than Palace at the minute, but you've got a lot of teams like Scott Parker probably will stay with Fulham, but if you offer it to him, he might take it. You've got Allardyce never. Well, I mean, Allardyce could come back. Fuck knows. I'm sure if you offered it to him, he'd sign it within 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
What's Chris Wilder?
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't got. I think he's a more attractive manager than Lampard because there's no expectation on him. He took that Sheffield United team from nothing to,
Well, from League One all the way to Premier League
last season, like 7th. Well, yeah, but last season, what were they like 7th, 8th, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They were like mid-table roughly. And I know they got relegated, but if you could have him for a season with that team and then because what Sheffield United didn't do was invest in players. Yeah. They had one team, signed Berg, and then thought that would make, and Ramsdale or whatever, and thought that would make the difference, and it just didn't. But if you get that Palace side, if it stays the same, I know Palace are having contract troubles, aren't they? Because a lot of the players' contracts are up at the end of the season.
Yeah, I can't remember. Let me try and see if I can get a full list of all the players. But
I think he's a good manager to get, and I don't know how long Graham Potter will be at Brighton for, but they're struggling. They seem to struggle every season. So I'm sure Graham Potter. I think if I was Graham Potter, I would be trying to get that Tottenham job. Or even that Arsenal job. You try and get a Wolves, you'll try and get a Villa, you try and get a Palace or Southampton, push them to 7th or 8th, and then try and get a job off the back of that. And I think that's what you should do.
These are everybody that's coming. These are everybody that is coming to the end of their contract this season. So June. Mm-hmm. So you've got Christian Benteke, Jeffrey Schlupp, Patrick Van Aanholt, Andros Townsend, Mamadou Sakho, Nathaniel Klein, James McCarthy, James MacArthur, Joel Ward, Cahill, Wayne Hennessy, Scott Dan, Martin Kelly, Connor Wickham, Stephen Henderson, and Sam Woods. You could
That's about 18 players.
Yeah.
You could argue at least half of them are first teamers. And I mean, every player you read, I knew who they were.
Yeah. And there isn't any.
You could probably even say 70% of them. Sorry.
There isn't any of them that are 25 and that are even under 25, except Sam Woods, who's 22. But I would presume because he's a young player. But everyone, the minimum age is 28.
If they go through them again, and I'll tell you if I think if they need them really.
Christian Benteke.
They need him. I know he doesn't score many goals, but what striker options do they have? They have him. Is Batshuayi still there? He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's only on loan now.
So him, Connor Wickham, and Ayew, they're the 3 options. Connor Wickham is always injured. He's been in the Premier League for 10 years and probably played about 50 games in the Premier League. So you've got Jordan Ayew and Benteke. So you need Benteke.
Jeffrey Schlupp.
Yeah, he's been playing. I think he's naturally a left back, but he plays as a winger sometimes, doesn't he?
Yeah. Patrick Van Aanholt.
Yeah, starting left back. Wait, who is their left back? Don't they have someone else at the minute? Because isn't he injured?
Is it Ward? I thought it might have been.
Reader Ward's been playing as a midfielder.
Who played against
Ferguson?
Mitchell.
Nathan Ferguson.
Mitchell as well.
Oh wait, yeah, Mitchell. Sorry, Mitchell, not Nathan Ferguson. But I mean, you still need him.
Yeah, Andros Townsend.
Oh yeah, Tyreek Mitchell. Yeah, he's a first teamer. I mean, we're just going to say that all these are first teamers. They're all, they don't necessarily all get into the team, but they're all important players in that squad because what Palace rely on is not getting injuries.
Yeah.
They have a couple of players that rotate, but not very often. You go from Patrick Van Aanholt to Tyreek Mitchell, who didn't play for because they don't have the depth.
Well, if you look, it's the best thing, the easiest way to do that is to look at the centre backs. How many games has Gary Cahill played since he joined?
Pretty much all of them. I mean, you look at their centre backs. You've got Gary Cahill, Sacco, James Tompkins, Scott Dan. What do they all have in common? I think they're all over 30.
Yeah. Well, Sacco's 31. Obviously, Cahill's 35. Scott Dan is 34.
Scott Dan's probably touching that. Yeah. And then Tompkins is 32, 3.
Yeah, he'll be around there.
So they don't invest in youth.
Well, yeah, because I think the youngest player they actually have invested in would be Eze.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't really. I mean, I understand the Lampard appointment because of the age, but again, I don't see what he can do unless all Palace want to do is sort of stay between sort of 12th and 16th. Then I'm sure Lampard can do that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought that he would have wanted to be in a relegation scrap.
Well, it doesn't exactly. It doesn't do anything for his portfolio or his market value. He goes from Chelsea he goes from taking Derby, doing well at Derby for a year and a half, going to Chelsea for about a year-ish, and then getting sacked, and now he's going to go to Palace, and like you said, struggle to stay in the Premier League. It doesn't make sense. Surely you've got a good reputation as a manager on paper, so surely you want to be going to, I don't know.
You want to be sort of floating around mid-table. You need someone somewhere like a Villa, who are stable.
Yeah, the only problem is obviously they don't want to get rid of their manager.
Oh yeah, it's any inside the top. Anyone inside the top half is not going to get rid of any of their managers.
No.
So, then you are left with the bottom half.
Yeah, I know.
And then the bottom half doesn't have the money to support you.
Mm-hmm.
But then, never mind. Moving on to Frank Lampard's former employer, Chelsea, beating City 2-1.
Yeah, it was a strong performance. City looked poor, to be honest. Chelsea capitalised, got the 2 goals. Aguero, let's not talk about that. I mean, just cockiness, lapse of judgment. Thought he could do that and just didn't. But
yeah,
I mean, people make mistakes. You can't dwell on it too much. I know they could have won the league, but in retrospect, it didn't matter.
No, but we'll get more onto that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think is this the second time now of that Chelsea have beaten City under Tuchel in the space of
mm-hmm.
of
they
a
did
week.
It in the cup as well.
In the space of 2 weeks or something.
Mm-hmm. Is it? Yeah, but I was talking to my dad about that, and I was saying as well that if Chelsea win the FA Cup and City obviously win the league, we get to see that same result on the Community Shield. Yay! 4 times in 1 year we've seen that fixture.
Yep.
So boring. But I mean, Chelsea, yeah, they're doing amazingly.
Especially under Tuchel, it seems he's re-energized the team.
And I was talking to my dad. When Lampard first got sacked, and we were talking about who should be manager, and we were talking about Tuchel, and I was like, yeah, that's the one person they should avoid. He's been sacked twice from 2 different clubs. They shouldn't go with him. I was like, I've just been proved wrong. He's used the team amazingly.
Maybe that's why he's doing so well. He must have seen the podcast.
He was one of the few to see it. Yeah.
Obviously, and then he thought, I'm going to have to prove him wrong. Well, he could either way. If you look at Chelsea, and no matter where they finish, if they'll look at it and think it's been a successful season. Getting to 2 finals. Get even quite comfortable. I know they're not exactly comfortably qualifying for Champions League, but they're in they're qualifying for Champions League for another year. It's been a good season for
them. Definitely.
And then moving on, you've got a team obviously again who's could have had a better, whose season could be better in Liverpool, beating Southampton 2-0. Sadio Mane getting his goal with Thiago as well getting a goal.
I mean, it wasn't that assured of a win. I mean, I watched the game. They were lucky not to concede a couple. But Southampton. What the hell are you doing? Sorry, just my girlfriend being weird. Huh? Sorry, Karen. Liverpool obviously haven't had the season that they wanted. Shown glimpses of form of last season. They're slowly coming into top 5. I mean, top 4 is unrealistic now, but they're pushing for that Europa League. And I know that sounds weird that they've gone from being dominant champions and winning the Champions League 2 years ago to barely scraping Europa League. But I mean, they'll have to take it on the chin and see what happens next season.
Yeah, that is all they'll have to do. They can only pick themselves up and move on. They're supposed to, I know I'm throwing this back to the Super League, but they're supposed to be a Super League side and can't even make the Champions League, which is the league which is what they were trying to break away from. Performing the Super League.
3 of them: Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal. Half the teams that were going to be in the Super League can't even make European football. I mean, that just shows how stupid it is. But Liverpool, Tottenham, and Arsenal all need to sort of scrap this season and just prepare for next season. Get signings in. Liverpool need players back. They need their defence back. Tottenham need to sign players, need to sign a defence. Arsenal, I don't know what hope there is for them, to be honest. I was watching Aubameyang tonight, and he came off with about 15 minutes left, and he just was shaking his head, not happy. And you just thought, oh God, the commentator was like, they need to be careful because they don't want another Ozil scenario. And that's exactly what probably will happen. He'll probably run down his contract and then just leave on a free.
Yeah.
Like we've said before, with Liverpool, Tottenham, there seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I can't see anything for Arsenal because the players they have at the minute are not performing well. They've got youngsters coming through who aren't good enough, and the only reason they're coming through is because their other players aren't performing well. The manager isn't good enough. The fans don't help the situation. And, they don't have an owner that backs them. So, not good enough players, not a good enough manager, not a good owner.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah, it was. They
need to heavily invest in the squad, which they won't do. So next season we'll be saying the exact same thing.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's just going to be a long build for whoever
Because
is at Arsenal.
if you look at the 4 teams below them in the league, Everton, Leeds, Villa, and Wolves, they've got a higher ceiling than Arsenal. Everton next season, probably even this season, will finish above them. Leeds probably won't finish above them this season, but I mean, next season I could see Leeds, if they invest in a couple more players. I think if they invest in their midfield, they potentially could push for Europa League next season.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but I reckon they could finish maybe 7th, 8th, maybe even higher.
In contention for the Europa League spots.
Yeah.
You know, and then like you said, you got Everton, you've got Wolves, who again, like we said before, we haven't had the best season, but there's always they've shown in several years that once the season comes back, once the season finishes, starts the new season, you got Raul Jimenez coming back, you've got some other players coming back from injury as well. When they have a full strength squad, obviously, like we said about Leeds, making investment. That's all Wolves need to do, and then they'll be pushing for the Europa League spots again as well.
I think that's the problem. We're looking at Everton, Leeds, Villa, and Wolves. You've got Wolves who have got significant injuries. You've got Villa who who their main man, their captain, has been injured. Leeds, newly promoted side that are probably going to attract some players, some young up and coming talent next season. Everton, who have looked really attractive this season and are probably going to attract some more players. Arsenal, Arsenal are at their strongest at the minute. Everton, Leeds, Aston Villa, and Wolves, aren't their strongest at the minute. Arsenal are, so that's the sad thing. Arsenal have only finished 8th this season and didn't have major injuries. Had a big depth, big pool of players to pick from, and they're 8th. Everton, Leeds, Villa, and Wolves haven't had that pool. They've had injuries, and they're only sitting a few points off them. So next season you could even see Arsenal below mid-table, which would be hilarious, but kind of sad.
Well, yeah, considering they're supposed to be one of England's great clubs.
Super.
Yeah. Speaking of Wolves, beating Brighton 2-1 on the Sunday. Left it late to win, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, what's his face?
Gibbs White.
That's it. I hear his name every so often. Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Wolves, again, have sort of underperformed the season, but have managed to claw it back a little bit to not being a terrible season. Finishing mid-table-ish is justified with, what they've had to go through with several key injuries and losing Jota at the start of this season. And not really, I mean, we're kind of replacing him with Neto, but
not enough.
Not enough, and then key players not performing.
Well, they replaced Jota with Pedro Neto, and then also replaced Raul Jimenez with Pedro Neto.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't work and then it was fine last season because Jota, Jimenez, Traore, but then when you've got Neto and that's it.
Yeah.
It's, he's playing the role of 3 players. He's doing the left wing, right wing, and striker. And I know you've got
Jose,
the teenager.
Oh, Silva,
who's how many goals has he scored this season? 5-ish, 6 maybe.
Something like that.
He's he scored some crucial goals, but he's definitely not
goals.
One to rely on.
Not at the moment. He might be later, later on in his career, but he has only just signed. He's had one year in the Premier League. 18 years old, don't forget.
Yeah, he looks really good, and he looks like he could be a really good, promising striker. I mean, don't forget they've also got Willian Jose. What has he done this season? He's what, 25, 6, something like that. He's he's not a kid. He's got a lot of game time in the Spanish league. He's played
29.
Was he at Sociedad?
Yeah, he's on loan from Sociedad.
I mean, he's practically done nothing. I mean, I mean, he'll go back and then won't return because there's no point.
29 years.
29. Wow. Yeah. So, almost 10 years on the other striker, and he's doing 10 times more. But, next season, Jimenez hopefully will be back and he'll, do well again.
Yeah, I think also in that game, Dunk making that challenge where he didn't need to, in hindsight.
Yeah, but I feel like
think
Dunk is a bit like that.
Yeah, I can't remember who said it. I think it was on Match of the Day. You've got to trust your keeper. Outside of the top, the top half. For me, Sanchez is the most informed keeper at the moment.
Well, I'm trying to think about that.
I can't picture, anyone outside the top half. Obviously, there's obviously Martinez.
I mean, Martinez, Areola,
yeah,
Sam Johnston, Dubravka, Nick Pope.
But then, I think he's been bang on form compared to some of the others. Like Dubravka, yes, he's in form.
He was injured for a little while though.
Yeah. For me, Dubravka's a solid keeper anyway, but I feel like recently, being chucked in at the deep end because of Matt Ryan going to Arsenal, I think for what it is, I think he's done well.
Yeah, he definitely has. I'm not saying he's a bad keeper because with what he's had to do this season, he's adapted well. But I said, I think I said this last week. Keepers this season, they haven't been favoured. They've not looked that great this season. Even the top keepers haven't looked amazing. Ederson's had his goal, his defence to thank. United are between goalies. Chelsea between goalies. Half the league are sort of not had great goalie performances this season. So, I mean, Sanchez does stand out just because he's the newbie effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's no real pressure on him to succeed.
Mm.
Moving on to the next game, United beating Villa 3-1.
Mm.
Again, coming from behind.
Yeah, seems like. I mean, Traore's goal was unbelievable. Lindelof got exposed a little bit with that, sort of trying to tap it away rather than just absolutely clearing it. But I mean, he's a frail defender. You look at his frame, you look at his build, and you wouldn't associate him with being a centre back. Traore looked bigger than him. But luckily, we had Cavani on the pitch for the last bit. We had Fernandes who does a job. Greenwood I think was his 101st appearance, and then he scored that goal. So
it was that goal by Mason. That goal by Mason Greenwood was a good goal to shift it and then to turn and send Mings on his bike.
Mm-hmm.
It showed class.
Yeah, I think people rate Greenwood, but I think they underrate him. I think at United, he's probably one of the best finishers. You look at him; he can shoot with his right, he can shoot with his left. I'm not sure if he scored. He's probably scored ahead, but he's got quick feet. He can cross a ball, and he's both footed and strong and accurate on both feet. Not many players can say that. So it's impressive, and only being 19. I think a lot of people overlook him and think of other players ahead of him in terms of his age, but he is definitely, maybe not in the England team, but he's definitely one in the next, I'd say, couple of years, if he keeps this up, to really solidify himself in both the England team and Man United squad.
Well, he's had 1 goal with a header, 4 via left foot, and 2 with his right foot.
Well, there you go.
Just shows you.
I mean, it was a strong performance from United in the second half, not so much the first half. And, Ollie Watkins getting a stupid booking for the first one was a foul on Maguire, and was the second one a dive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it showed desperation from his part, and I mean, you can't really blame him because the first one he was trying to block a clearance from Maguire, and the second one he's trying to get something. But I mean, they're going to struggle without him now because who would they play up front? El Ghazi, maybe.
The one that gets me though is the you went to VAR, they checked it and things like that, but they don't give the cards to, if there's a penalty and then they go, oh, there's not enough contact, then surely then it's a dive then.
You'd assume so, but I mean, it doesn't work out every time, does it?
No.
But hopefully next season we'll have more definitive decisions rather than questioning what the refs are doing.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to have the communication. I think that's what is lacking.
What's being said.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
One team that, when they're moving on to the next game, West Ham losing to Everton, 1-0. It was a very good performance, to be honest with you, from both sides. Obviously, I know West Ham didn't win at the end of the day, but they were pushing. They were pushing quite hard. It just happened that Everton were just drilled defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, the first half hour, I know West Ham were carved open by just a simple pass by Godfrey out of all people.
Yeah.
But you just got to take your chances.
Yeah, I mean, Everton are pretty clinical.
Yeah, West Ham had 11 shots and none of them were on target.
I mean, it goes both ways. If you look at Calvert-Lewin and Antonio, I feel like although Antonio's played well this season, you could debate that since he's been at West Ham, he's really not that clinical. He wastes a lot of chances, whereas when you look at Calvert-Lewin, he's bagging a lot of goals because he's clinical.
Yeah,
I feel that's what West Ham are missing. Like they've got Ben Rama, Lingard, and Fornals, who are all really good creatively, but then when you've got Mikel Antonio up front, who has played as a right back, who's played as a right mid, who's now a striker, you need someone who's clinical. It's weird because they need someone like Antonio, but someone who's clinical.
Yeah.
They need a better version of Antonio, but they just haven't found it yet. Hence why they keep signing so many strikers, because they're so keen to find it. They just haven't.
Well, then they need to find someone soon. Antonio's 31. Yeah. He's not got much longer.
I'm trying to think if they could even get Aguero.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Just throw a bunch of money at him. Come to us for a year. We'll be in the Europa League. Win us the Europa League.
Yeah. I don't really know that many. Ones that they could even go and get.
What's Keane? I don't know.
I think he's set.
I think wanted to sell him.
I think he's set in Paris.
Yeah, I mean Everton should try and get as much money back as they can.
Yeah,
but it's just West Ham should finish top 5, 6. They should get Europa League at least. I think Champions League is going to be a struggle, but I think they should.
I know we've said it before, but I think if Brentford don't come up in the playoffs, I think they should go for Ivan Toney.
Yeah, I think they should, but yeah, I shouldn't say but the price tag. But I mean, it's never bothered West Ham really, is it?
No.
And as well, you got what a stupid thing I was about to say. Never mind. I was going to say he's got the partnership with Ben Rama. Yeah, because they played together, didn't they? Just ignore what I was saying.
That's I could see them doing that.
But I think that is the likely option. But then, would he want to go, a step higher? If Kane leaves, would he go to Tottenham? It just depends because you don't know how good he's going to be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
because he was at Newcastle. He played a couple of games there. I don't think he's ever scored in the Premier League. Then he went to Posh. Then he went to Brentford. I mean, he's what, 24, I think. So he's he's still young. I
Yeah.
mean, it does seem like the likely destination for him if Brentford don't go up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, you have got some other teams like Palace, but I think he'll be wasted there. I think West Ham's probably a good shout for him. Maybe
Yeah,
even Leicester.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not necessarily a replacement for Vardy, but, as start to phase Vardy out.
Yeah, exactly. Play him. Yeah, play them sort of half and half, or even play him and Tony and Iheanacho half and half. Play Vardy as much as you can, get as much out of him, and then switch Tony for Vardy, and then rotate them, and then take Vardy out and just play those two.
Yeah. But who knows? The only time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last game, Arsenal versus West Brom, which pretty much relegate. Well, it did relegate them. Relegate West Brom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arsenal again. West Brom. Yeah, I think that coffin was dead and buried quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could. It was a good goal by Pereira. Just got his head down, was running at them. In our hindsight, someone should have just put a challenge in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what Arsenal's defence very is the word lackadaisical.
I think that's yeah.
Doesn't that basically just means lazy?
Yeah.
They just sort of sit off and allow shots to come in. Like the defence, they've tried to rectify it for years, and their last good defence was Vermaelen and Mertesacker and Koscielny. I say good, like better than what it is now. You've got Holding, David Luke. All right. She just got up and just been on our front now.
But yeah, their defence at the moment is very mismatched. A little bit like Tottenham. It's always changing.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tottenham have, sort of set on a partnership, but I think because it's always changing. Because you had against West Brom, you had Holden and Gabriel. Tonight against Chelsea, I think you had Mari and David Luiz, was it?
That Pablo Mari looks awful.
Yeah, I don't rate him at all. Yeah, I think there's plenty of. I don't understand the reasoning as to why they got him. He was young. He was rated as a youngster, but in retrospect, it was it's nothing really.
No, you can be rated, but it doesn't transfer to performance.
Yeah, but like we said, it's going to be a tough one for Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
There's no point dwelling on it.
No.
One of the other, and then moving on to the next game, which again sealed the fate of another club. Fulham losing 2-0 to Burnley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, there was a little bit of hope for Fulham, but with all the teams above them winning, again, there wasn't much hope.
Yeah, it was just. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late for the little resurgence that they had a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. If they'd have started playing well at the start of the season, getting the odd point here and there, the odd win, we'll probably be talking about Brighton or Newcastle getting relegated.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, though, it is what it is. And then I'm gonna quickly talk about the result that meant the most at the top of the table on Tuesday. Yesterday, Leicester beating Man United 2-1, which then made City champions.
Yeah, I think United were only, and City, to be fair, were only partly stopping the inevitable.
Yeah.
I think United fans, when they looked at that lineup that went out, they weren't particularly expecting a dominant performance. When you see the captain as being the Nemanja Matic, you know that the rest of the team isn't going to be, first teamers.
Yeah.
I mean, 2-1. I mean, looking at the team, you'd have probably expected a worse result for United.
Well, I think. Well, what's the average age of that front of the front? Well, you would argue the front three.
19.
So
19.
Yeah.
Elanga's 19. Greenwood's 19. Diallo's 20.
18.
He's 18.
Diallo's 18.
Mad. Yeah. I mean, 18 to 19. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, Solskjaer obviously knew what he was doing. He wants to rest players for the Europa League.
Well, not only that, I also think for him, he would prefer to lose to Leicester and beat Liverpool or get a draw against Liverpool.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just as a pride thing.
100%. Yeah, losing to Leicester means nothing, but losing to Liverpool, even this late on, it's still a bit. There's pain there for the United fans.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it was as well. It was a bit of a mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that is pretty much it for the Premier League. Obviously, we've had games like tonight, but we'll mention this other times.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at some of the other leagues in Europe, because I know obviously we've had that the Spanish league, the La Liga is coming down to the wire. There's 6 points separating first and fourth. So in theory, it could come down. There's 3 games left. By the looks of it, no, 2 games left.
2, isn't there?
Yeah. With all of the basically all of the teams that are in it having you would assume relatively easy games. Because you've got Atletico Madrid against Osasuna and Real Valladolid.
Mm-hmm.
Real have got Villarreal. I know that's not an easy game on the last day of the season, but they've got Bilbao again. I know that they're probably the harder games for them.
Mm-hmm. You'd probably say the favourite. It's probably between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, to be honest.
Yeah, but then Barcelona.
I don't think Sevilla are in it because they're a bit too far away.
Yeah,
but I don't think Barcelona. Barcelona are 4 points off Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and if Real Madrid win their game and they're 2 points off Atleti. So I think chances are it's going to be a Madrid team that wins the league. I like Atletico Madrid, but I think it would, boost Real Madrid's confidence to win a league because of the start they had to the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right too. But I think for me, I think it'll be stay as it is. I think it'll stay as it is, and it'll be. And I think it'll be. Thingy. What was I going to say? Yeah, I think it'll be Atletico.
I like that. Who's their captain?
Atletico.
Yeah, I was thinking who would lift the trophy.
Is it Koke?
Ooh. I don't know why I was thinking Jimenez, but I don't think it is it? Might be Koke.
Well, let's have a look. He played Sociedad.
I'd say Gabby, but I think he's retired now, isn't
he? Yeah, it's Koke.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's been there for a while.
Yeah. Right. So moving on to France. This one definitely
Did you
going
see
to come.
that game the other day? Monaco versus
Yeah.
Lyon. When they all started fighting after.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
But there is 3 points separating Lille in first and PSG in second. Monaco are 2 points behind PSG. Lyon are 1 point behind Monaco. So in theory, in theory, it could be any of those. In theory, obviously.
I'm just trying to load up the table.
But in reality, it's definitely going to be between Lille and PSG.
I'd love anyone but PSG to win it.
Lille have got Saint Etienne next, and then Angers, or is that how you pronounce it?
Angers, I don't know.
Yeah, them. And then PSG have got Reims and Brest.
Mm-hmm.
They're both playing. They're both playing
yeah.
teams in and around the same area, in the league.
It's Lille's to lose, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is, Then it's just. I think it will come down to the way, like you said, it'd be great to have someone that's not PSG, just to kind of show off the fact that you don't need to spend all the money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I know Lille probably have spent some money, but they've sold players.
Yeah. What did I see? I think I saw something like, what was it now? They sold Pepe, signed. Who did Lille have? Oh, so annoying. They signed. No, I don't know why I can't think of who it was. In between Pepe and Yilmaz, but the point was that they, sold Pepe for 60 million, signed someone else, sold him, and then got Yilmaz for free, I think. And now they're going to win the league.
Yeah.
Yilmaz scored something like 14 or 15 goals this season.
Yeah.
He'd have been nice to see in the Premier League, to be fair. He reminds me of, what's that Fulham striker?
Mitrovic,
yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. But, yeah, I think, you said it. Lille's to lose by the looks of it. And to be honest, that's pretty much it, because obviously a lot of them have been wrapped up with, in Italy, Inter Milan winning, in Germany, in Germany, Bayern winning for the 9th time in a row. Yeah, a lot of it's coming down to, basically the teams that you think would win it.
Yeah.
What else did I say we were going to talk about?
Other countries. That's what you said.
I know. So, having a look at the European football. Obviously, the Champions League and Europa League coming up soon.
What's your prediction?
I think for the Champions League, I think it'll be quite close because of the situation. Not necessarily the situation, but because of the occasion. That's what I was trying to say. City will want to perform, and obviously Chelsea will want to perform as well. And City won't want to repeat any of the recent results against Chelsea.
Right.
So I think City win it 2-1.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a particularly high-scoring game. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on it. I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Mason Mount, Phil Foden, De Bruyne. Oh, I don't know. Chelsea have looked strong when they've played City this season, but I feel like Chelsea are just the sort of team to sort of collapse
Yeah,
and
that's
just
what I
let
was.
City do their thing, which I think is a mistake. I think City will win as well. I think I'll say 3-2, even though I just said it won't be a high-scoring game, but I'll just contradict myself and say 3-2.
And then obviously the you would assume the biggest game for you, the Europa League.
Yeah, I mean, that
Uh,
defines our season, sort of.
Villarreal versus Man United. I
I'm
know.
saying,
I know. Well, to be honest, it means I know United would want the trophy, but in reality, it doesn't necessarily matter if you lose. You're already in the Champions League anyway.
I don't think it necessarily means anything for Champions League, but I think to win a trophy under Ollie, his first trophy at United is big. I think that means
Yeah,
more than a Champions League. It shows there's no more debate between him and other managers. Like, obviously, Mikel Arteta won the fucking FA Cup or League Cup, whatever it was, but Europa League's better than that. It's more challenging. You've got to play more games. Um, but yeah, I think it means more in terms of Ollie winning it than Man United winning it.
yeah,
I think United obviously are going to put out the best possible team they got. They haven't got any injuries, and hopefully they don't have, but they haven't got any injuries I can think of.
Maguire.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. I hope it's not. They've got good enough players to sort it out. They'll presumably play Bailly and Lindelof, which I'm not too confident in, but I think when they, I don't know, I'm confident in the squad. I think 3-1 to United, because I think there might be an error with Bailly or Lindelof in a mix-up early. And I think if United are going to win it, I think it'll be a very similar result to the Aston Villa game. I think United might go 1-0 down and in the second half come back.
To be honest, that's what I would have thought too as well. It'll be, if anything, like you said, if anything happens, it is going to be from United coming from behind, as we've seen multiple times this season. And to be honest, I see someone like Mason Greenwood getting on the score sheet just because it'll be something different for Villarreal to deal with.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know if he'll start though, will he? Because it'll probably be Rashford on the right. My predicted line. Right, here we go. So, Dean Henderson, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Lindelof, McTominay, Fred, Fernandes in the middle, Pogba on the left, Rashford on the right, Cavani up front. And then I think Pogba will come off. Rashford will go on the left. Greenwood will go on the right. And then maybe Van der Beek will come on for like Fred in the last few minutes or something. I think, let me think. I think Cavani will get one. I think Bruno will get one. I think I'll see Greenwood as well. I think it's between Greenwood and Rashford. I don't think there'll be multiple, like two goals by one player. And if there is, I think it will be Cavani.
Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be a relatively same scoreline, like you said, to the Villa game. Yeah, I'd say probably 3-1 as well, because I don't see Villarreal offering much that United can't answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, who they got? Gerard Moreno, Chirikaweze,
Who's injured?
the Nigerian. Oh, never mind then.
Vincent Abora, who's injured.
Baka?
Yeah, Carlos Baka.
Ibora. Who have they got going forward? Ibora, CDM.
Carlos Baka, Paco Alcacer, Jared Moreno, Moy Gomez. There's a
I think
few.
United have played harder teams this season. I think who was the team they faced? Who's the team? What was the other team that they played? Real Sociedad. I know they absolutely smacked them, but I don't see them being much harder than that.
Yeah. Well, in the league, I think Sociedad doing better than them in the league.
I don't know.
Yeah, Sociedad doing better than them in the league.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, if we were going to play Arsenal, I would have been worried, but I would have preferred to play Villarreal, and I'm pretty confident, to be honest. I'll be surprised if United lose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that as well. And I think that'll do because there's not really much happening in the world of football at the moment. Obviously, we've had. Oh, one thing. Did you hear about Juventus? Because
What,
of
not being in the Champions League?
Well, because of the Super League, the Italian Football Federation is threatening to kick them out of the Serie A because they haven't
Not for the first time.
because they haven't left the Super League.
They still haven't.
No, there's Barcelona, Real, and Juventus that are still in it.
Wow, that's why. So it's those three teams going to be playing each other every week, are they?
Well, by the looks of it.
Well,
And UEFA are drafting up disciplinary actions against those three as well.
mm-hmm. I
So
mean, it's stupid not to, but I mean, they haven't won the league anyway, so they're not the biggest team in Italy at the moment.
yeah,
There's a good 3 or 4 that are doing better than them. So,
but it's like we said about Arsenal, Tottenham, and Liverpool. You know, Juventus are in a bad place at the moment because they might not even get into the Champions League, which is the one they were trying to break out from, thinking they were better than them.
Yeah. It's funny when calm bites you on the butt.
Yep. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that'll do. That'll be it now. Because I don't. There's not much really happened, obviously, other than the season's coming to an end over the leagues in Europe. So with that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave notifications on, like the video, comment down below what you'd like to see, what you'd like us to talk about next week. Comment down below anybody you'd like to get us, anybody you would like to be on the podcast. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok, follow Declan on Instagram, follow Declan on Twitter. Subscribe to my personal channel, I'll link that down below. I think that is it. And again, I ask you every week, got anything to
No.
Okay. We'll see you guys next week for the podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.